The never-ending milking machine, also known as Diablo Immortal, the game that hates its player base, the game that is so anti-consumer and pay-to-win, the pay-to-win has pay-to-win at this point, has decided to make a new update, to milk its player base even more. This is absolutely the most insane thing ever. Just listen to this.
Breaking down all of the normal gems. The numbers are actually insane. You're going to want to watch all of this one because by the end of it, you're not going to believe all the steps I've walked you through. It'll probably blow your mind if you've never actually taken a look at some of these numbers. With that being said, let's get going with it. There's a significant change coming to Diablo Immortal that will shift the power in this game. I'm going to fully explain it, including the math breakdown for you in this video. So by the end of the video, you're going to know everything you need to know for this upcoming change.
It's pay to win, as you can probably already imagine, and since it's Diablo Immortal, it's gonna blow your mind how actually pay to win this change is.
Normal gems are about to shift how powerful they are. In the most recent patch update, they stated on the 22nd, they're going to be adjusting normal gems. These gems will receive an additional attribute which modifies the base stats of the item they're socketed into. This is similar to Resonance, how Resonance actually modifies the equipment base stat as well. The normal gems will only be modifying the set items they're socketed into, as legendary items can only have legendary gem sockets, not normal sockets. Because of the variability in the number of gems that both gloves, belts, boots, and necklaces can have, this means 3 gem spots are now even more of a priority than they were before. Because there is a total of 14 normal gem sockets you can have at a max, and because the maximum gem rank at 10 costs 19,683, this would give you a grand total of 275,562 normal gems, which you need to acquire in order to max out your character with the new system.
Honestly, these numbers seem extremely on point for Diablo Immortal. Just your typical grind, honestly.
Now, if we safely assume that you can get each normal gem for only 300 platinum each, on my server, they're actually maximum price for everything. But let's just assume that you could infinitely buy the supply of these at 300 platinum at a cheaper price. This would give you a total of 82 million platinum needed. If you buy Eternal Orbs in the amounts of $200 each, it's the cheapest amount possible, meaning you can get 7,500 Eternal Orbs per $100. So let's figure out how much actual money this would cost. Now, 10 platinum is 1 Eternal Orb, so if we divide this by 10, we'll get the cost in Eternal Orbs, then we'll divide it by 7,500, and we'll get the cost in how many $100 we would actually need. Now we're going to times this by 100 in order to get the dollar amount, and we have $110,224 in order to max out the normal gems.
Is anyone surprised? Is anyone really surprised that this is the amount required to max out something in Diablo Immortal? Because you shouldn't be. And if you are, wow, how have you missed this? Diablo Immortal literally costs in the millions to max out a single character. And keep in mind, this is just for one character. Just one! And you know, there's a chance that you're swapping gear, there's a chance that something becomes better, which means you even have to farm more of this. And yes, this is only one system, one small system in the Diablo Immortal economy that you can max out. This is how much money it will cost in the most efficient way possible. Isn't that absolute insanity? And my favorite part, as always, is the fact that Skittles, because Skittles is amazing. This guy right here, he understands that he is playing one of the shittiest games to be ever made. That it's an absolute money grab. No questions about it. There's barely a game there. You know, it gets lame, it gets repetitive, it gets boring in the first 30 minutes of gameplay. And he's okay with that. Every mechanic introduced is absolutely just money-grabbing, pay-to-win, scamming the player base, and he's 100% always with a smile on the face. Yep, this is fine. This is absolutely fine. He's the guy who, when Blizzard was in a pretty tough pickle because the normal player base that didn't pay money was very unhappy with the current situations, and they wanted to make it better. He was the guy who said, now wait a minute, don't buff the normal non-paying player base too much, because then they will be too equal to the paying player base, and the paying player base needs the unpaying player base to absolutely destroy in PvP and make fun of. Oh yeah, it's just, this guy is an aberrant. He knows everything that's happening, and he just sits there with a smile on his face, not caring about anything.
Now, this is just all assuming napkin. I mean, not really napkin math, we're using a calculator, but just some philosophy behind how much it would cost if you could just infinitely purchase these gems. Obviously, people aren't going to spend $110,000 in normal gems, so how do we get them?
He has not been paying attention if he doesn't think that someone's not going to spend that much money in Diablo Immortal. There's going to be literally probably hundreds of people who are going to spend that money.
Normally for free. Now, there's such a thing as a bound and an unbound gem. For instance, this one has the market icon on it, and the one next to it does not. If it has the market icon, it is an unbound gem, meaning it is tradable and sellable. If it does not, it is a bound gem. Currently in the game, you can farm 12 unbound gems plus 6 bound gems per day. You can get the unbound gems by doing things like 4-player party grouping or running dungeons. Fairly simple, and you can get the the bound gems through 6 of them through a hidden lair every day. So you get a cap currently of 18 that are farmable before we talk about things like vendors.
And how many gems did you need to finish up a perfect one? Was it something like, I don't know, 80k, 20k? He had it there on the start somewhere. It's absolutely insane. You literally need to farm years.
Or we talk about things like vendors. The occasional event will throw some normal gems out. And of course, the Battle Pass has some, and you can purchase some directly from the shop. And of course, you can buy 10 of them weekly, basically increasing the amount of normal gems you're getting by a few on average per day. It's fairly safe to add an average of 2 more on per day through things like the events, the free battle pass, the weekly Hilts trader, etc. So let's say you can get an average of 20 gems per day at a maximum if you're farming every day. Now, it has been 253 days since the launch of the game. So let's say you've realistically been farming free. You could get 5,060 normal gems, approximately. Again, it's napkin math, but decently accurate. You could have farmed about 5,000 normal gems by now free.
Okay. So, to make you understand. So, if you have done everything every single day since the game got released, you would have this amount of gems. And this amount right here, 257k, is the amount of gems you need to max it out. Needless to say, that's absolutely insane. That's... How much is it? 55... I think it's roughly 55 times more you would need game time to max it out, which means 253 would need to be times 55, and that's how many days you need to play this game to max out those gems. And this is just your everyday normal grind in Diablo Immortal. Isn't that fascinating? And there's unironically people who play this crap. Unironically, there are people who play this crap.
You could have farmed about 5,000 normal gems by now free. That's assuming playing at max, doing all of the things, all of the events, all of the purchasing, never missing a day, and playing since launch. We have yet to address the market, and let's just assume that no matter what, you could always get the gem you wanted for only 300 platinum, even though they're always sold out on my server and they go for 400. Let's just say you could always buy the gems. The person I'm most acutely aware of that has been free to play that said they have farmed platinum would be Apollyon Gaming. I believe he was quoted to have farmed 3.5 million, but don't put me to the core law. I just think that's what he said. That's what the data miner was saying. So 3.5 million platinum, let's say you have farmed since launch. Now let's divide that by 300. Let's say not only have you played since launch, but you've put every single piece of platinum you've ever got only into normal gems, not legendary gems, not expanding your stash tab storage, nothing else. You only put it in there. That would give you another 11,666 gems. If we add on the 5,060 that you could have grinded free to play as well, we still only have a rank 9 gem.
Yeah. If you have been non-stop hardcore and you're free to play, you haven't even grinded out a single thing to max. And that is assuming you're literally throwing everything else out of the way just to do that.
if we take the total amount of gems needed to have maxed out one gem, again, there's 14 gem spots, but we're just talking about one here, remove that by the amount that it would have been physically possible and even gift him one extra just so we don't have any roundings, we can see we're still short 2,956 normal gems in order to have maxed out one of the spots. However, let's do that math again. So we still need 2,956. All right, no problem.
This is not a game at this point. If you want to play this, this needs to be your life. You need to be dedicated to this shit non-absolutely stop. The most insane, the most blatant pay-to-win Chinese, Asian, Korean mobile game that literally demands that you prove that you own a credit card with X amount of money on it before you even download the game is less pay to win than Diablo Immortal. Let that sink in for a moment.
Now let's take the normal amount of gems that you need in total to max out your character and remove it by the total amount of gems that would have been possible to have free to play at the moment. And we are looking at still need another 250,000 gems. There's another problem that we aren't really even addressing, which is the market flow, meaning there are more whales purchasing up these gems quicker than there are free-to-play people basically exporting these gems onto the market. This is because the free-to-play people need the gems also. It's not like the free-to-play people who are playing the game just don't want to progress in the game. They also want the power, so only some of them are selling these gems.
I wonder how lucrative would it be to actually create a bot farm on Diablo Immortal. I'm really interested in that. Because is there a way to convert platinum or whatever type of currency to actual money? I'm not even sure.
For this reason, it makes it even harder to actually get your hands on them, even if you wanted to spend money. This is also further ignoring the fact that when the free-to-play do sell the gems, it's to be able to buy the other part of the game that is pay-to-win, the legendary gems. They have to sacrifice one of their arms to buff the other, is essentially what's happening as free-to-play. Well, that was kind of fine and dandy, but if you need both, like, equally...
I love it that he just says that, yeah, well, you know, that the fact that free-to-play players are literally living on scraps and not trash, that's fine and dandy. I love it. There's not even a single hint of regret in his eyes. He never even stops to think that maybe that's bad. He has literally no compassion for the free-to-play scum. I absolutely love this man for that.
As much, it's going to create a larger gap in my own personal opinion. If you want to see some really depressing math, here's the amount of total gem, or days I should say, that it would take you to farm the amount of gems you need. 13,778 days, also known as 37 years, just about 40 years.
Well, at least you're going to have things to do until you grow old and die.
So obviously there's not enough gems. However, I think that's about to change because this is a very obvious math problem, and I know they're aware of that, especially if they're trying to start some kind of economy.
I love that he... this is not the first time he implies something like this. This is not the first time that he implies that developers are very well aware of something like this. And the funny part is, yeah, I 100% agree. The developers are aware of this because it's intentional. They know how long it's gonna take. They understand what they're doing. This is intentional because someone is gonna dish out those $110,000.
This also doesn't really address the problem of like 15% tax is being taken when you buy and sell stuff in the market, so we're losing a little bit of value, etc. None of that additional math is in it. I'm looking at this from the most like gracious way I can. I even calculated some of the gems at 300 platinum each. So if anything, the numbers are going to be worse and we need more normal gems in the game. However, that does seem to be what's about to happen. And not just because it states it right here, where they're going to modify hidden layers to provide players with additional ways to obtain tradable gems. There's actually some more information as well.
Knowing Blizzard, that means that they're going to get like one additional gem per day. We're gonna buff the gem drop by 20%, and that's like one gem drop per day, and it's gonna be hilarious.
Well, now I'm not gonna go into full like detail because it's pretty rough information at the moment, but basically I was talking to the data miner, and what he's saying is that the fishing minigame seems to have a way to reward players with normal gems. And currently in the game, I don't really know what the point of fishing would be if it's not to acquire resources that we need. I'm talking set items, I'm talking normal gems, hopefully things like legendary crests, etc. You're fishing for some goodies. I could see them adding, like, you get 3, 4, 5 additional normal gems per day if you go and max out your fishing. But I want to take you on a darker path and show you how much none of that actually matters.
Of course, none of that matters because, I'm gonna explain. So with 20 gems, imagine if you increase the drop rate by 50. That's 30 gems. That means that you're that doesn't even mean that you're shaving off 50% of the total time spent. No. It's actually less. Then, you know, from 40 years, congratulations, you're not even shaving off 20 years off your grind, which is absolute insanity.
Remember how many gems you can get free to play per day? 20 gems, let's say, is the amount when we mathed out, right? Okay. Let's say that Blizzard goes absolutely crazy and decides we're going to 10 times the amount of normal gems you get.
10 times means that you just remove 1 0. So from 47 years, no, it was 37 years. From 37 years, you would need 3.7 years
per day. You can now farm 200.
And obviously, an increase like this is literally never happening.
100 normal gems, and everyone is singing their praises about how great of a change.
Because this is not an increase of 100% gem acquisition. This is 1,000%.
Change this is. To max out one normal gem, that would be still 98 days, aka 3 months to max out one gem. To complete this set, that would be 1,377 days to complete all of the gems you need. I mean, this math seems obvious, but also known as just about 4 years.
Yeah, if you add 1 0, just subtract 1 0. That's how I knew it's going to be this number right there. Because you're just adding 1 0. So remove 1 0 from here. Pretty simple math.
0.7.
But anyway, admittedly, this is more reasonable. Some gamers would actually be okay with this. But the fact that some people would be okay with this, and that means that they would not spend money in Immortal, that's not okay for Blizzard. So they are never gonna do this.
7, 8 years there, basically. So even if Blizzard right now 10 times how many normal gems you could get as free to play in the game, it would still take you 4 years to max them.
Also, why would Blizzard actually ever do this? Blizzard has literally just spat in the face of their Immortal player base so many times. They have blatantly just disregarded bugs that they didn't care about because it didn't impact the money they have created. They have done absolutely everything. They have not banned cheating people who bailed out because they give money. It's insane. Blizzard just doesn't care about Diablo Immortal players. It's like you're literally a walking bag of money in their eyes.
But wait, that's not all of it. There's actually still another problem. You guys remember these things, the Echoing Crystal? You actually need these when you're upgrading your normal gems. For instance, if I wanted to go from rank 7 to rank 8, it would cost me 15 of these. Don't forget, though, you need the duplicates of the other ones in order for it to work. So going from 8 to 9 is 35, but you need 3 of them. So I would have had to done this 3 times in order to get 3 more rank 8s. It's exponential in its cost. Just to give you the number, it's 531. You need 531 Echoing Crystals times 500 in order to max out one gem. That's 265,000 platinum to max out one gem, times 14 for the 14 gems you're going to need. That's 3.7 million platinum. Otherwise known as more than all of the platinum the most known free-to-play guy has farmed, which was the 3.5 million that I was able to find anyway.
Imagine you're playing this game, and every day, you know, you're doing some progression, right? Because you are getting a little bit of progression playing this, right? Imagine you're doing this. And every day, you become 0.05% stronger. because that's the current speed and pace that you're picking up power. Imagine that. Imagine playing a game, doing every piece of content that most likely, honestly, requires like, I don't know, multiple hours a day to finish at this point, and you're getting a 0.005% return on investment in your power. And imagine you have the ability to just drop like $10 and you get like a 5% power boost. It's ridiculous.
Still 200k more. That's over 7 months of platinum farming in order to just pay only for the echoing crystals before we even talk about the gems you need. So for me, the current system has a few key failures. First and foremost,
only a few key failures, huh?
The amount of gems you need, 275,000 plus, seems to me like one thing. An infinite goalpost that is ever moving that is impossible to achieve. I don't think they actually expect anyone to max out all the normal gems. Instead, what they do is make it an impossible grind so people just have progression they can always make.
Now, this is a smart thing to say, honestly, but this is a smart thing to say in a not pay-to-win game. In a pay-to-win game, they implement things like this because someone of the whaling status has achieved this cap. And when a whale has nothing more to whale for, they're probably going to leave and start playing a new game with time. You always need to move the goalpost for whales the moment it exists. Or the moment the whales stop putting a lot of money into the game, you need to create a new goalpost that will renew this. This is why things like this exist in Diablo Immortal. This is why these updates are done. Because there's no point creating an infinity goal like this for normal players. Because by the basic standards of just legendary gems, you're already spending half your childhood slaving away playing this game just to have a rank like 3 gem. A single one of them. Not even talking about multiple one of them. Now, this is literally an update just for whales so they can whale forward.
Even if that progression is so low. This does two things. It makes it easy for the game to always have something to do, I suppose, but unfortunately it also gives the carrot on stick appeal, where you're chasing the carrot for a bit, and then you're like, I can never grab this damn carrot, and you're going to get annoyed and sick of it.
Technically true.
I also think adding more importance to normal gems that we're doing on the 22nd, even if we're addressing the problem of normal gems, I've done the math in this video, even if Blizzard decides on the 22nd to add 10 times the normal gem income, which I would put money on it, they're not going to do, it still would take basically 4 years in order to farm enough of the gems. I don't think people are going to play 4 years in order to max out their normal gems. This also doesn't include the fact that people need normal gems as free to play in order to sell them to be able to buy the legendary gems, because the legendary gems are not really farmable.
See, free-to-play players already have an infinity power chase if they want this. So you see, this update is purely to just milk it even harder. It's shameful. It's absolutely disgusting. And Diablo Immortal players are just sitting there saying, I like that. This is great. They're updating the game. They care about us. Jesus Christ. You could beat a Diablo Immortal player near death, and they would be probably, someone's paying attention to me. How wrong do you need to go in life to end up as Diablo Immortal player? It just doesn't seem right.
As it stands currently in the game, it would take you 37.7 years to be able to farm enough normal gems to level with them as free to play. That does not even include the platinum required with the Echo Crystals. So for my own personal opinion, we need more ways to get normal gems quicker, and most importantly, for free. Otherwise, the new system will be dead on arrival, as normal gems are currently already.
And that's the video. Oh my god. I have to say, it's been a while since we have checked up on our boy here, but man, it's insane. And he keeps playing it. There's something just wrong with the brains of these Diablo Immortal players. Like, everything he said in this video from start to finish is delusion at its absolute peak performance. It's insanity. How does situations like this happen in real life? It almost feels like you're watching some kind of parody of life. But anyway, kind of amazing. Anyway, like and subscribe, boys. Amazing.